Top 10 College Football Championship Games. Regular season games simply can't match up to the hype and thrill from series finales, where dreams are shattered and pro careers begin. Today, we're counting down the top 10 college football championship games of all time. Number 10, 1984, Miami versus Nebraska. The Orange Bowl concluded on January 2, 1984, with a nail-biting game of Miami versus Nebraska. Led by Howard Schellenberger, the Miami Hurricanes managed to upset the number 1 ranked Huskers, who had a 10-1 odds on the books. Their regular season wins propelled them into the finals versus Nebraska, marking only the second bowl game for the Miami organization since 1967. So the pressure was on for the Hurricanes to pull off a win. Miami turned up the heat and led with 17-0, but Nebraska battled back. As the fourth quarter wound down, it looked like Miami's hopes would be crushed, with Nebraska holding a lead over Miami. This championship was held back in the days before overtime existed in college football. In a clutch comeback, Miami managed to tie it up. They could have opted for a tie, but the Hurricanes coach Tom Osborne went for a 2-point conversion to boost their score to the 31-30, with only 48 seconds left on the clock. This win would be a sign of things to come and kickstart their spree of national championship wins. Number 9, 2002, Miami versus Nebraska. 17 years after their last legendary matchup, the Hurricanes faced the Cornhuskers again at the Rose Bowl. While Miami entered the season with a number 2 ranking, they would have to overcome a team led by Heisman winner Eric Crouch. They entered the game with all the momentum in their favor, leading with an 11-0 record, averaging a staggering 32.9 points per game. After the kickoff, the Hurricanes smashed their way to a 34-0 score at halftime. Together, the co-MVPs Ken Dorsey and Andre Johnson kept up the pressure to finish out the game with a score of 37-14 to end the season undefeated. Their roster ended up propelling 38 players into the NFL, with 17 in the first round alone, making the 2001 Miami squad widely regarded as one of the greatest college football lineups of all time. Number 8, 1971, Nebraska versus Alabama. Despite losing twice to Miami in 2 different famous games, the Cornhuskers had their own time to shine in their 1971 series win versus the Crimson Tide. Nebraska was the defending champs coming into the finals, hot off a number of impressive victories. On the way to the finals, they had a legendary performance versus the number 1 ranked Oklahoma squad, barely managing to capture a 35-31 final score. They were on a 31-game win streak going into the finals, and both teams were undefeated during the regular season. However, it became clear that the Cornhuskers were on a different level as they led 28-0 at the half. Alabama managed a few points in the third, but Nebraska smashed through with a 38-6 victory. Number 7, 2017 Clemson versus Alabama. The 2017 matchup between Clemson and Alabama saw the 2 teams rematched after their finals clash 2 years prior. The CFP National Championship, held on January 9th, had lots of drama surrounding the game, with Alabama's offensive coordinator Lane Kiffin stepping down just 1 week prior. It was also the Clemson Tigers' first national championship in 35 years. Clemson's junior quarterback Deshaun Watson made a legendary drive after the Crimson Tide pulled ahead with just 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock. Watson completed a 2-yard pass to Hunter Renfrow with just 1 second left on the clock to end the match with a score of 35-31 and end Alabama's 26-game win streak. Number 6, 1970. Texas versus Notre Dame. On January 1st, 1970, the Longhorns took on Notre Dame. Texas trailed 14-17 before going on an incredible 76-yard push over 17 plays. Twice during the final drive, the Longhorns went for a 4th down and converted. During one of these heart-pounding plays, Texas split end Cotton Spryer dove for a catch on 4th and 2. The Longhorns managed to complete their run with a 1-yard touchdown with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in play. Fans were at the edge of their seats since Notre Dame still had time to mount a comeback. That was until Tom Campbell intercepted a throw from Joe Theismann with 38 seconds left. The final score was a close 21-17 that capped off the Longhorns' perfect season. Number 5, 2018, Alabama versus Georgia. The CFP National Championship from just a few years ago is fresh in the minds of many fans, but it's already being remembered as one of the best college finals in history. Coach Nick Saban brought Alabama to their 5th national championship over 9 years, which drove expectations into the game. The Crimson Tide was down 0-13 at the half, but after their 25-2 QB got benched in favor of freshman quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, things turned around. He threw 3 touchdown passes in the second half. As the game reached its close, Tagovailoa took a devastating 16-yard sack to push Alabama out of field goal range. However, he completed a crazy 41-yard pass to another freshman, Devonta Smith, to score a touchdown in overtime to end the game 26-23. Number 4, 1973, Notre Dame versus Alabama. This matchup was as much a battle between players as it was a fight between coaches, as legendary coaches Ara Parseghian from Notre Dame came head-to-head versus Alabama's Bear Bryant. The game took place on New Year's Eve on December 31, 1973, with Notre Dame leading 14-10 at the half, driven largely by a 94-yard kickoff return. Alabama fought back to set the score 23-21 after they missed an extra point. Notre Dame fired back with a field goal, and the lead changed for the 6th time in the game. Coach Bryant decided to punt, and they locked down the Irish at the 2nd-yard line. But on 3rd down, the Sugar Bowl MVP Tom Clements nailed a 36-yard pass with only 2 minutes left on the clock to secure Notre Dame's victory with a score of 24-23. Number 3, 2016, Alabama versus Clemson. The number 7 entry was a great matchup between Alabama and Clemson, but their first bout in the CFP National Championship on January 11, 2016 was even more electrifying. It was a back-and-forth game with Clemson's quarterback Deshaun Watson pushing for 478 offensive yards. Alabama tied up the game at the 4th quarter with a score of 24-24, but the Tide recovered an onside kick to keep things exciting. O.J. Howard caught his 2nd touchdown pass of the game after not catching a single touchdown pass through the season. Then, Kenyon Drake came up big a few minutes later with a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Alabama QB Jake Coker clutched out the second half and finished with 335 passing yards to bring the score to 45-40. Number 2, 2003, Ohio State versus Miami. The BCS National Championship had its fair share of controversy with a pass interference call in the end zone, but that was just one of many twists and turnovers and lead changes. The Hurricanes thought they won in the first overtime when Craig Krenzel's 4th down pass landed incomplete, but they got a pass interference flag, and the Ohio Buckeyes managed to pull through with true freshman Maurice Claret scoring the game-winning touchdown with a score of 31-24. Number 1, 2006, Texas versus USC. The January 4th battle between Texas and USC for the BCS National Championship exceeded even the biggest hype going into the match. Vince Young put on a clinic with 267 passing yards and 200 running yards in a back-and-forth game at the Rose Bowl to give the Longhorns their first undisputed national championship in 36 years. Overall, the game racked up 1,100 yards of total offense, and the Trojans were unable to capitalize on their dual Heisman Trophy winners Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart. Young scored 3 touchdowns throughout the game to break the USC 34-game win streak and end their 2-year reign. With just 19 seconds left on the clock, Young scored the final touchdown with an end zone dash from the 8-yard line on 4th down, bringing the score to 41-38 and capping off the most exciting final in college football history. From full-on smash wins to buzzer-beating clinches, these top 10 college football finals games will live on through the ages thanks to their incredible plays and unforgettable storylines. What's your favorite college football finals moment? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, score a touchdown by clicking that like button. and subscribe for more exciting videos covering all your favorite sports content.